Oak Island is sort of one of the world's big unsolved mysteries.
And if this is a cut coin, mate, I'm getting bum swizzle,
Yeah.
mate. If this is a cut coin, mate, it could well be a Spanish coin.
Oak Island is often dismissed as a ghost story for grown men or a money pit that swallows dreams. But if you look at a piece of cut silver recently pulled from the muck of Lot 5, you'll realize the skeptics are finally running out of excuses. For over 200 years, the world has been told a very specific, very safe story that in 1795, a few local boys found a depression in the ground and started a treasure hunt that never ended. But that story is a lie, or at the very least, it is a very small part of a much darker, much more complex reality. When you hold a 17th century English shilling in your hand, one that has been intentionally sliced into quarters, you aren't just looking at old currency, you're looking at a smoking gun. This single discovery on a remote island off the coast of Nova Scotia has effectively shattered the timeline we've lived with for centuries, suggesting that an elite, organized and perhaps military force was operating here long before the discovery ever happened. Imagine the scene at Lot 5. The team was sifting through truckloads of spoils, the leftover dirt from previous digs that most people would have ignored. But on Oak Island, the trash of the past is the treasure of the present. Fiona Steele and Peter Fornetti were out there with metal detectors, navigating the mud and the salt spray when a signal hit that was too sharp to be a rusted nail. They dug in, and what they pulled out looked like a jagged scrap of metal. But once the dirt was brushed away, the glint of silver caught the light. It was a coin, but not a whole one. It had been clean cut, a practice used centuries ago to make change when you didn't have smaller denominations. This wasn't something a casual settler drops. This was the currency of a working crew, a payoff for a secret labor force, or a piece of a soldier's wage. The atmosphere on the island shifted instantly. They took the piece to archaeologist Laird Niven and metal expert Emma Culligan, and that's where the mystery turned into a controversy. Using high-tech elemental scanners, they peered through the corrosion and the scratches of time. The results were undeniable. It was an English shilling from the 1690s, specifically the reign of William III. The dates don't just hint at an earlier presence, they demand it. If British silver was being traded and cut on Oak Island in the late 1600s, it means someone was there a full century before the money pit was supposedly found. And they weren't just camping, they were building. This coin was found near a mysterious stone feature, a circular foundation that shouldn't exist, using a specific type of mortar that matches samples pulled from deep within the money pit itself. The connection is direct, physical, and impossible to ignore. It suggests that the entire island was once a massive, interconnected construction site, a 17th century high-security vault built with the precision of a fortress. But while the silver on the surface is rewriting history, the real drama is unfolding deep underground. The search has now focused on a gamble so high stakes it's almost terrifying. The team is hunting for Shaft 2, a legendary wooden structure believed to have been dug in 1805. According to ancient searcher maps that many experts claimed were fabrications, Shaft 2 is the ultimate X on the map. It is said to be located exactly 14 feet southeast of the original money pit. In the world of treasure hunting, 14 feet is a heartbeat. It is the difference between finding the greatest hoard in history and hitting another wall of mud and disappointment. The operation to find this shaft is a masterclass in tension. Massive excavators are clawing at the earth, reaching down over 40 feet into a hole that wants to collapse at any second. The machine operators are working almost blind, guided by radio chatter and the gut feeling of the men on the surface. Then it happens. The bucket snags something that doesn't sound like rock. It's a dull, heavy thud. When the bucket comes up, it's carrying a massive black timber. This isn't just a piece of wood, it's a monster beam, thick and heavy with the weight of centuries. The crew gathers around as the wood is hosed down, and the first thing they notice is chilling. There are no nails, no spikes, no modern fasteners. This timber was joined using ancient, sophisticated woodworking techniques. It speaks of a time when labor was intensive and craftsmanship was a matter of life and death. Just as the skeptics start to claim it's just old driftwood, the metal detector guy gets a hit in the same layer of soil. Poking out of the muck is a hand-forged rose-head spike. These spikes weren't mass-produced in factories, they were hammered out one by blacksmiths in the 1700s. It is the signature of a specific era, and it places this massive wooden structure exactly where the old legends said it would be. We are no longer talking about if there was an operation on Oak Island. We are talking about who had the resources to build a subterranean complex that has defeated every modern engineer who tried to crack it. The theories are now moving away from simple pirates. You don't build a 90-foot shaft with elaborate flood tunnels and booby traps just to hide a few chests of Spanish gold. That is overkill. No. The scale of Oak Island suggests something much larger, something state-sponsored or backed by a secret society with immense wealth. The recent rumors of British military involvement are gaining ground. After Sir William Phipps recovered a massive treasure from a sunken Spanish galleon in the late 1600s, it's whispered that his associates needed a place to stash the overflow, a bank in the New World where the king couldn't get his hands on it. Or perhaps it goes even deeper, back to the Knights Templar, whose symbols have been found carved into stones across the island. Then there is the discovery at Smith's Cove. While the focus was on the pits, a gold-plated coin emerged from the sand, buried beneath an ancient man-made slipway. A slipway is a place where you bring heavy cargo ashore. If someone was plating coins in gold and building massive wharves in a hidden cove, they weren't just passing through, they were setting up a long-term, high-value operation. Every time the team thinks they've found the end of the story, the island reveals a new chapter. The sheer density of artifacts, 14th century tokens, 17th century tools, and 18th century spikes suggests that Oak Island has been a focal point for the world's most powerful groups for over 500 years. The tension on the island is palpable now because for the first time the search feels clinical. They aren't just digging random holes, they are following a trail of forensic evidence. The wood they've recovered is being sent to labs for dendrochronology, tree ring dating, to pin down the exact year those trees were felled. If those dates come back as the early 1700s or late 1600s, the 1795 discovery story will be officially dead. We will have to confront the fact that someone was digging 100-foot holes in the North Atlantic wilderness at a time when most of the world was still focused on basic survival. As the machines push deeper toward that 14-foot mark, the air of mystery is being replaced by an air of destiny. The Lagina brothers and their team have spent decades and millions of dollars on this patch of land. They've faced floods that should have been impossible and failures that would have broken lesser men. But they keep going because the island keeps whispering. It's in the way the light hits a piece of cut silver. It's in the smell of the ancient anaerobic mud that's been trapped underground for 300 years. It's in the knowledge that they are standing on top of something that was meant to be forgotten. What lies 14 feet away from Shaft 2? Is it the Ark of the Covenant, as some of the more radical theorists suggest? Is it the lost manuscripts of William Shakespeare or the crown jewels of France? Or is it something even more valuable, a secret that could rewrite the history of the Western world? The island's defenses were meticulously designed. The booby-trapped flood tunnels are a testament to how badly someone wanted to keep people out. But the team is closer now than any searcher in history. They have the technology, they have the data, and they have the sheer, stubborn will to see it through. You have to wonder if the people who buried this treasure ever thought someone would come this far. Did they think their rose-head spikes and their hand-cut silver would ever see the sun again? The deeper the team digs, the more the island seems to fight back, almost as if it has a consciousness of its own. But the markers are there. The 14-foot gap is narrowing. The black timbers are being brought into the light. And as the final pieces of the Oak Island puzzle are forced into place, we are left with a chilling realization. The mystery isn't just about what's in the hole. It's about the length that humans will go to hide the truth, and the length that others will go to find it. We are standing on the precipice of the biggest revelation in the history of treasure hunting. The next bucket of dirt could be the one that changes everything. It could be the one that finally explains why a 1690 shilling was cut into pieces and dropped in a pile of dirt on a lonely island. It could be the one that leads us into the heart of the money pit itself. Whatever happens next, the story of Oak Island will never be the same. The ghosts of the past are being unearthed and they have a lot to say. The search for the truth is no longer a hobby. It is a race against time and the elements. And as the team reaches for that final marker, the world is holding its breath, waiting to see if the island will finally surrender its crown or if it has one last devastating trick up its sleeve.